always a huge goal in like all of these matchups, at least for when teams are playing defense against them.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, well, we've had a little bit of a discussion, quite an extended one, as we do get now into the first map. It's going to be Eichenwald, a similar map pool to what we saw last night, and it's a best of 3. So, of course, failing, well, at least whoever wins this map will go on towards the next one. That will be Control, and then we'll get King of the Hill?
No, 2CP second, yeah.
Oh, sorry, you got Control. It's Assault. But let's talk about the defense here. Look, it's the standard Rogue composition, Jason. I don't really see anything out of the ordinary here. If we've been
It's just so
Rogue.
weird it's on defense that they can feel confident to play like this dive comp on defense, not play a little bit safer with like a double tank setup. But most importantly, on the attacking side, we do see D.Va being picked up, which I like to see considering we have Soon on Tracer and ACAM on Soldier. So that mitigates 2 big players for their team. And not to mention, what is Nox ever going to do to Hyped or to Agilities?
Yeah, it's a good question. I mean, we'll have to see if it's going to be enough to actually shut down, you know, the amount of threats on the side of Rogue. But we are going to have Immortals pushing forward now. It's going to be Aethan and Agilities out to the front. They've actually made good progress in towards this point already before Rogue. Now we're going to have to stand a fight on the point.
And you can already see them moving up towards the left-hand side, though. So trying to use that health pack to their advantage, but Rogue is just going straight in, and that's just 3 easy, clean kills. So not really contested the choke point, as you pointed out, but nonetheless, they still pick up almost every single frag here, as I think Hype's one of the last men remaining, and they build up a lot of good ult percent, especially for Nico.
The only casualty in that fight was Nox, and the fact is that AKM and Unco were very comfortable and safe, able to set up on that high ground. The Soldier 76, of course, of AKM being helped out by Unco in case it was ever required, and they were essentially untouched. So Immortals are going to waste no time. They can see, without a Reinhardt, you do give a lot of ground. You allow them to push with that first choke, and that's going to be Nox going down first. He tries to the bubble, but he's taken out. And now Immortals want to try and transition on towards the point, but it's a good little bite. A grenade landed onto most of Immortals. Nico cops one himself, though, and he gets taken down by Nomi.
And most importantly, Soon goes down before he gets his pulse bomb online, which means there's no real chance for Rogue to contest this point anymore. And I really kind of wondered, with the first attack we had Immortals do, why did they push in so quickly? When you have this Roadhog, you have this hook potential and this kill potential onto multiple targets on the side of Rogue. You pair that in with the fact that Nox has to be the one to jump in, and you're pretty much a hard counter to him. Why not go for that? But in the meantime, we're seeing Rogue contest it with ultimates, which I really have to question why they're doing that, Mitch.
Yeah, Nico invests the Dragon Blade and gets nothing done with it. A hook on towards wins, and AKM is not going to last long. Sure, he picks off Aethan, but it came in very, very late in the piece, and perhaps Rogue only know how to dive right now. That seems to be what they've been doing, and it's a very interesting map to watch, Jason, because last night we saw this one with Runaway on it. I think it was actually Runaway and Immortals, and there was a lot of Reinhardt play. It's something that we talked about yesterday, and Slasher actually brought up, is that Nox is not really big on playing the Reinhardt right now, and maybe that hurts him on this first point.
I really kind of wonder, like, who is going to be the man to go to that second tank on the Rogue side. In the meantime, Agilities does get hooked on a Nico, and that's a good initial kill.
Yeah, Agilities get put to sleep there, and he is going to get by a grenade, and the aggression still from Nomi, though. He wants to try and get forward and get on towards Unco on the back lines, and now the Primal Rage does come out. He should have that kill. Now Nox needs to rejoin his front line, because AKM now has to deal with Hyped, who's nano boosted. He's being knocked away by Nomi on that Winston, and this is actually a fight that's going in favor of Immortals. The backline stays unscathed over at the payload, and their tanks do a lot of disruption to Rogue.
And luckily for the side of Immortals too, well, I guess luckily, unlucky, it depends how you look at it. There's no one to really maintain control of that top high ground for Rogue. All you have is AKM, who is going to need a lot of protection, and if he does go in that position, you have Hyped and Nami jumping directly on him. Always that hook potential of Agilities if he's able to get it on towards the high ground, and then of course Grim Reality, and this is just going to be a slaughter. They're holding him into this choke point. They're not giving him a chance to contest this payload.
That self-destruct is nasty. Hype gets 2 kills. It's Nox and AKM to fall. Somehow they were affected by that self-destruct, despite there being a bubble in the vicinity. So that's not good. A bit of a mistake from Rogue to allow their, well, 2 of their crucial players to be caught out by that ability that ostensibly is easy to escape from, Jason.
Well, we do have AKM Attack Visor and Anubis ready to go. They're just waiting to get this opportunity to get the focus on Nox so they can push out, but Soon gets hooked in immediately here, and that's an initial kill that's going to work pleasantly for Immortals.
Yeah, Sound Barrier going to come out for Immortals, and, well, I don't really know if Rogue, yeah, they have to reciprocate. Wins gets one off himself. Bit of fighting actually over on the payload, but it's just Wins keeping it going for the moment. A very split, very weird little fight. It's Nox in the backline actually trying to deal with the rest of Immortals, and Nico comes in with the Dragon Blade. He finds Aethan. He's looking for Verbo now as well. The Lucio is pretty darn slippery, and Nico has to chase him back to the payload, and it doesn't matter because the Immortals had already gotten that second checkpoint by the time Nico got there.
Yeah, actually, I like the way Immortals played that, because you had Wins on the payload, right? And he was just sitting there contesting it, and yeah, you could go for the kill into him, but if you push that DPS down, you eliminate any chance of them taking that point back. Lucio by himself is not going to do anything. You need that DPS to clear off people, to clear off those targets, to get a man advantage. So look, At Grim Reality, he's actually behind the team with the pulse bomb ready to go, and this could be huge. He's gonna land onto Nox, who gets poked in, but he still dies nonetheless.
Yeah, that's perfect. There was a bit of damage there if Agility's needed to actually do a bit extra, but no, the pulse bomb on its own was enough. Now Soon needs to try and reciprocate this on his own Tracer. Wins, falls to Agility's. That's a second pick off for Immortals in this fight. Soon is able to find his opposite number, but you can see that Rogue are forced to back way up outside their spawn and go for one fight and hope they can do it with 6 players.
Well, not only back up, they're forced to switch comps around 2. Uncle's on the Zenyatta, AKM switch over to the McCree as he takes down Agilities, and this might be exactly what they need. That was a great flashbang on a 3 individual targets as Nox able to leap down and Gooba stop Verbo. So finally they put a halt on this payload that's been constantly pushing this entire game, but it forced them to switch. And this is what we wanted to see. Can Rogue play a little bit of a different composition? And AKM is McCree. I mean, we know how infamous this player is.
Yeah, if he wants to try and sit back, Nox has a lot on his plate, really, if he wants to create that space for AKM to be able to do his best work. And Nox needs to not get caught out. That's also one thing. He does have an Orb of Harmony on him, but he gets picked off. It's not what he can afford to let happen. Self-destruct got to come in over the top, and there's no Reinhardt shield. Wins his caught. He wasn't able to get away quick enough, and now AKM's on the point being knocked around by Nomi in Primal Rage. Agility's finding Soon, and Nico's really got to hurt. It's a desperate Transcendence on the point for Unco just to try and keep AKM alive, really.
Hello? Contested? Oh, finally, Nox is going to jump in on actually force this one off. The Sound Bear's already been used out of Verbo.
He left this pretty darn late. Unco finds Agilities though to start this one off, and Nico has a Dragon Blade. Lucky to be alive there as he got Biotic Grenade, but he goes for the Reflect and is able to stay alive long enough for AKM to find height. Grim Reality gets caught up, Soon will take him down, and Rogue win another fight just outside of that final point.
Alright, so now we get to look on the side of Immortals. Are we going to see any sort of switch up for them? And with them having this many ultimates already ready to go, having that whole hog, having that pulse bomb for Grim Reality, I don't really see them changing too much. Maybe Zarya actually wouldn't be too bad into the mix of this one. You get a Graviton Surge and a Pulse Bomb.
Sure.
If Unco doesn't have his Transcendence ready to go, even then, it's just not going to really do much. So maybe a slight switch could come in out of this one, but at the same time, Hype has nothing to stop his self-destruct except a Winston Shield. And at the way Nox has been playing, he's always been, well, for the majority of the time, the first one to die.
Yeah, he can't get picked off if he wants to help his team survive against that kind of self-destruct. Now it's going to be the Primal Rage coming in. A Sound Barrier as well for the side of Rogue. It's Deadeye, but AKM doesn't find anything for it. But still, Nico, boots on the ground with that Reaper, is able to find Agilities. The mixed shots are real. He finds 2 more. It's Verbo and Eighth and Fall as Nico on his previously signature Reaper pick finds his way into the back line and finds 2 supports.
So I think Rogue, they've been struggling for a decent amount of this game with picking up kills, securing kills, right? So what Unco does is he switches from mana over to Zenyatta, and with the triple DPS composition and with the Discord Orb, that target's almost guaranteed to die. Yeah, you lose a lot of healing, but if you get kills quicker than they do, you don't obviously get that extra HP or the extra health that you get from that one. So a good switch out of him. He has Transcendence yet again, and I don't really see a potential winner of this fight for Immortals.
Nomi goes for the charge, but doesn't connect. Nox actually finds Aethan early on, and Unco's in a great position to give a lot of healing to his team with the Transcendence. They're all clumped together. Rogue obviously trying to protect each other, but Nomi found 2. He got the Fire Strike, and then he gets the Hammer Hit on towards Nox, but it's going to be the Pulse Bomb to find him. Now Grim Reality needs to leap into the backline, but he got discorded very early on and had to back out.
Yeah, Hype's going to die eventually here to Suno towards the left-hand side as well, and the payload's just not going to move much further. They just need to die here. They only have 50 seconds left remaining. They need to regroup as a team. If Nami can get an Earth Shatter up for this fight, there's nothing to stop him from using this. But you can see Rogue immediately responding, trying to push out, trying to stagnate and split up these spawns.
Yeah, staggering's the best thing right now. There's 40 seconds left in the game, and it's a long, long walk back to this point here at this stage for Immortals. There were longer tracks, of course, to cover in this game, but in general, this is pretty annoying. So this is going to put Immortals in a position where they have one last push. They're going to have a Dragon Blade, they're going to have a Sound Barrier, possibly a Self-Destruct that could be the difference, especially with someone like Unco, who's not very mobile and won't be able to get out of the blast radius if he's not careful.
And AK with the Deadeye, I mean, this is going to be the big determining factor. I wonder the position he's going to be in for the most part. He's actually currently playing on the low ground. I was expecting maybe get a little bit high, because if Agilities does die, we can get away from this one. But Soon's already gone down.
Now, Agilities are going to have to go for the Dragon Blade here, and he finds Unco. He was always going to be vulnerable to that. AKM also falls. He didn't have the flash to stop the Dragon Blade coming through, and Nomi on to wins. Now we're in overtime, but that payload is moving at maximum speed towards the end of the map. Nomi has an Earth Shatter ready to go if he needs to use it if there's any attempt at stalling out, but Soon can only jump on and then recall. Here's the Nico Dragon Blade though. What can he get with it? Hyped up back in the corner. Soon got taken down by a charge from Nomi. And this fight looking a little bit messy now, but it's going to be Immortals. They re-establish control. Grim Reality finds Nico most importantly, and Agilities with the cleanup through 2 kills. Nox has the Primal Rage though. He's keeping this one stalled out, but it's only a matter of time. Surely Jason still in overtime and a self-destruct on the point. This Soon with a double Pulse Bomb kill, but it's not enough to get the job done. A very close ending to this round, Jason, but Immortals finally get over the line.
Yeah, that was very tough, considering they had, what, 3 minutes of time to push it into that final section of the map. And even though Nami hit an Earth Shatter onto one target with Soon, he hit the target with a pulse bomb. He hit him who had that the ultimate available, ready to go, which you can already see picked up a double kill at the end. That could have turned the tides completely of that fight. Considering when you're in overtime, you always have a longer respawn timer. So well done by Immortals, but I kind of expected a little bit of a quick finish considering how fast the first 2 points went.
What do you reckon about this team comp, Slasher? What do you think about the Reinhardtless defense on first point for Rogue?
Nox does not play Reinhardt. Mitch, I don't know what you guys saw or whatever conversation you had. I haven't seen Nox on Reinhardt. I don't believe it. I don't think it exists. And because it doesn't exist currently, it's just not happening in any of these scenarios, situations that I'm talking about. And of course, now we have Unco and Zen because they're playing on offense. And yeah, Immortals should be feeling pretty lucky that they even completed the map. I mean, you saw what happens when you can snowball. And they did a very good job of playing the tanks and being consistent and getting through the second point. But then Rogue, when they get going, they just destroy you. I mean, right when you were talking about Jason about the Zarya, he actually went back to base to switch to Reaper, and then he switched to Zarya, and then he switched back to Reaper, and then he killed everybody. And then when they switched off of Roadhog, then he went back to base again, switched to Genji. Then they kept killing more people, and then Immortals finally were able to get it done. It wouldn't surprise me if Rogue was able to, complete the map with like a few minutes to go, or there was times during that game where, they get very aggressive and they do kind of dumb things, like going into the first point, using all their ults and then all dying and then not having anything else for the second point, which is why they got run over.
Yeah, that doesn't make a lot of sense.
I was wondering if Nico was just going to switch from his Genji. That's why he used his Blade, but then we saw more ultimates being committed there. Really no words for that one, Mitch.
Yeah, well, that's the way it goes. I mean, Nico's always that kind of player as well. He's known for his aggressiveness. Sometimes his decision-making hasn't been great, but here comes a push on towards the point now, and this is aggressive. AKM's on that Pharah as well, up above in the air, pressuring down that tank line as much as he possibly can, but he's slipped. He's put to sleep. Nox gets hooked in by agilities and goes down, and AKM, of course, prone on the ground, couldn't stop Grim from finishing him off.
So this defense, which isn't really meant to be aggressive, even though you have that Winston, you have that D.Va to take like high ground control, to dive in towards the backside, I think they're just taking advantage of the aggression that we're seeing Rogue throw their way. I mean, that hook coming in of agilities, he's been pretty damn accurate with it, and you can see him being focused on finally now is he's going to go down from this one, and Nico's going to get another kill into Grim Reality.
Yeah, dash resets are pretty good in this game, but it was agilities getting caught out on that Roadhog, and that was it. One small mistake is all you need to give over towards Rogue to allow this dive composition to snowball out of control. Unco with the final kill there, and there's no chance of holding this point. It's going to be a quick take after 3 minutes, or with 3 minutes and 5 seconds remaining, and they get an extra 2.5 minutes.
You can see Nico and Soon immediately pushing up as well. With that pulse bomb ready to go, not to mention the Dragon Blade, if you get a full reset through here, they have no chance to contest from this high ground, which is where agilities can do an insane amount of work if you can just hit these hooks. And even hyped up towards the left-hand side, he's trying to deny, I think, a lot of different passive attack and trying to prevent this aggression coming out of Rogue. You can see him, he's a little far pushed up here, but he has the backup of his team.
I mean, Nico, beautiful. There's a headshot shuriken on towards Grim Reality to finish him off, and then he gets the Dragon Blade to follow up. Soon finds a pulse bomb on towards Verbo, and everything's going the right way for Rogue. They've got everything they needed in that fight, and AKM, what better cleanup crew than a McCree when you've got a Tracer and Genji to dive into the backlines and get early picks?
I'm loving the McCree too, because we actually questioned quite a bit of it yesterday with Runaways to deal with Sinatra, who's playing the Tracer. But AKM, again, we talked about how damn good he is on McCree, and if you have Grim Reality, who was playing that Tracer, dive in towards the backside against him, well, more often than not, AKM's going to win that fight. So it's forced to switch out of Grim.
Ooh, this could be quite aggressive here. Nox actually almost getting caught out, and yeah, Soon and Nox both going to fall pretty quickly. They had one person on the payload and 5 more over towards the doors here, so Rogue have to quickly and sheepishly back away towards the payload and try and hold on to it, but it's a self-destruct. There is a payload in the way, so people like Unco and AKM can be shielded from the blast. The Grim Reality, I believe, is up on the high ground there. He takes down AKM.
Alright, so they do get the shutdown, and they will commit quite a bit of ultimates here, but going a little bit too far, here's allowed Rogue to pick up a triple kill, and now Grim Reality has to be really careful to be dove on it just like that, getting the resets with the help of Nox. Rogue's going to win the fight yet again, and have basically 4 minutes of time to push this payload across the final finishing point.
So punishing, Jason. One pick-off, one person extended a little bit too far is the catalyst for a complete whitewash in a team fight in favor of Rogue. Each time, they've just managed to catch that one individual and then turn it around. That's how scary and explosive this team is right now.
Hyped. He's actually gone in really deep, pretty much by himself with double Sunburst coming in. Nox. He's got his Power Rage ready to go, and you can see him just waiting over towards the far hand side. Just when anyone come out just to knock them back and towards their own spawn, pops it, goes in towards the left hand side just to keep them back. But Hype is still alive on the payload as he finally gets picked off, and that payload's going to continue to push.
Yeah, Dragon Blade time here for Agilities. He needs to do more. The rest of his team need him, but Wins is actually going to kill him with the Booper unless it went over the edge. I'd say the damage would have been enough to get the job done. Primal Rage also drawn out from Nox in that particular fight, so it's just going to be Unco that has a Transcendence. For 4 minutes and 46 seconds now, That's a lot of time to get towards the end here. And realistically, Jason, Rogue definitely should finish with some time bank.
Yeah, 100%. Considering you have Nico playing Genji fairly well so far in this series. You have them in this tight, controlled area. Yeah, they have really tanky targets, but if you get this man going, it's going to be really hard to deal with them. And that's a lot of ultimates invested in Grim Realities. Is the entirety of Rogue can just back away. Yeah, they don't have shields, but they have the terrain to hide behind.
Why pull that when the enemy team can disengage so easily? Maybe if you forgot that the door is not there anymore in this iteration of Eichenwald, but here is the response. This is what Rogue are going to do. They're going to try and make your mistakes into their victories. It was a Transcendence out from Unco, and when ACAM was able to go deep on towards Agilities. It was a 2v2 fight thus far. Soon died though with that pulse bomb. We won't be able to use that, but Unco takes down Hype. That Discord Orb is so dangerous for the amount of tanks that we often see Immortals bring. It seems to be the kryptonite right now. And it's a one fight. Unco with the headshot on Nathan. They're pushing for the win.
And Immortals has nothing to stop us. They have no ultimates actually ready to go. Hype switch over to the Zarya. Zune has a pulse bomb ready to go. Nikos has a Dragon Blade yet again, and ACAM with the Deadeye. This could be the final blow.
Pulse bomb being dropped there as well. It takes Hype. He can't even get on towards the payload to help his team. Nox zoning out on towards the right side, but Nomi's caught on his own. He gets taken down. The Deadeye was primed and ready to go in the backside. Unco finds Agilities, and now the Dragon Blade coming out from Nico.
Wow.
That's all that you need. 3 minutes and 34 seconds remain. And Rogue will have a chance to get one more point and finish things off. And Slash, you were kind of right. That was pretty decisive stuff from the Frenchman.
That's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about. Dominated. I mean, did even Immortals win a fight? Maybe one and a half fight? Not at all. They couldn't even stop him at the very end. They didn't make Unco switch off of Zen. Not only that, ACAM and Soon are just so good. Like, Soon barely didn't get them to defend the final point. He actually killed 2 people with a pulse bomb randomly that they were getting on the payload. I mean, he could just take over the game, and as well ACAM could take over the game. It's just it's very difficult for teams to stop them right now in North America.
What happened on the second stage of the map when we sort of saw Immortals actually start to win that fight out, when Rogue kind of overextended and put 5 guys right in front of the castle doors? That turned in Rogue's favor so quickly after losing 3 players.
Yeah, I mean, Rogue is really good at being scrappy. I mean, they stay alive for so long, and they do so much damage individually. They always keep going. They use ults all the time, no matter if the situation is correct or not. They just like go in, let's kill everything, let's keep going, we spawn, we go in, we kill stuff, and they play it like Wynn's a long-time Quake player. Really reminds me of like old-time just cess, spawn spec, and go and attack. Doesn't matter what the map control is, or the items that you're trying to do, or even the ults. They're just going, they're using stuff, and they're killing things. And Immortals can't kill enough things as they are.
Well, speaking of Immortals, they've gone back to a triple tank setup with Grim Reality, the only one playing DPS on his soldier. Well, I say DPS. We know how well Agilities can do here, as well as Hyped. But I don't know. This is going to be really difficult, because if we see one single kill go in the way of Rogue, I feel like that's going to be the snowball potential. That's going to be the go mechanism for them to just rush in.
And you walk a tightrope playing Reinhardt against this kind of composition as well, because it is hard sometimes to stay in a safe zone when you want to try and shield teammates. You want to prevent people from getting picked off. Maybe someone gets slept and Nomi has to come forward and shield them out. I mean, there's no Ana on the side here of Rogue, but AKM's on that Pharah here. Even more scary for someone like Nomi to deal with. Grim Reality's got a lot on his plate here, Jason.
Yes, he does. And AKM has the freedom, most importantly, with the Genji to trace on his team to just rain down justice from above here. But you can see already some initial kills coming through. Maybe a little bit too aggressive, but they still have a lot of time on their side. They have 2 minutes and 40 seconds left to go. They built up a lot of ult percent with Soon at 78 and Unco at 63. More importantly, Unco, if you could just block somehow that biotic grenade, that's going to be a tough fight. Unless Agility somehow gets a whole hog off, it just keeps you away at arm's length.
Yeah, it's important to point out, it's so easy to nullify the effectiveness of a Transcendence when your enemy, well, when you have an Ana, of course, and the enemy team doesn't. Now, that's Wynn's getting caught out by Agilities there. That's kind of going to happen every now and then, but it's okay for Rogue. They've still got some time to work with, but they need this point, and this is one where you can have these stalemates. How do you deal with Nomi? How do you deal with the Reinhardt? How do you have to break through that? And also, you still need to deal with the threat of Agilities getting a pick, and Grim, like we saw earlier on, who killed Soon quite early in the fight.
And I'm just worried for Rogue here, for Immortals can kind of manage their ultimates correctly, because they have so many people getting, very close to finishing it off. Then that's going to be so tough to break, but Soon does get the kill on Nami, so that's the Reinhardt now down, but Grim, I mean, well, he doesn't actually even get the nano boost, goes over to Hype, but the Transcendence is going to be there to mitigate this damage.
Yeah, but the Transcendence doesn't keep AKM alive. He got hooked in and the burst damage ticked in. There wasn't any healing, of course, that Transcendence could have provided to stop that. But Dragon Blade for Nico gets himself 2 kills. Agility goes with a whole Hulk here, and despite Immortals actually being Graviton surged altogether, they managed to hold on. They managed to win the fight out, and Unco can't 1v2 against a Lucio and a Zarya.
Well, either way, though, they forced out 4 ultimates there. That was the whole hog, that was the nano boost, that was the sound barrier, that was the Graviton surge. All they have now is just attack visor and earth shatters. So if somehow Nami can hit this, which he very well can, the problem is because of the mobility that Nico and Soon have in Nox, it's really hard to hit more than one target. You can maybe catch out Unco.
With the supports, I guess.
Yeah, exactly. That's all you can really guarantee kill here.
Oh, look, the hook comes in from Agilities and he gets punished for landing a hook. It's unbelievable. Good Shatter, and look, both supports being caught up, but Nomi can't charge. He couldn't follow up on that one at all. They're completely split right now, and here's a sound barrier coming out for wins.
That target focus too, they all just power in straight onto Hyper, eliminating him one by one, and with everyone falling on the side of Immortals, I don't really see them having a chance of pulling this one back.
Yeah, this is going to be Rogue setting up on the point now. It's so long to get here for the defenders to respawn back in. 8th and falls for Nico, and here is the snowball. It's going to be the barrage coming in over the top. Verbo's trying to stay alive, but eventually going to get cleaned up, and that is going to be map number 1. It took Rogue some time, I think, to kind of decode the formula dealing with this Reinhardt and the Roadhog, Jason, but they eventually managed to break through. I
mean, Slasher, we talked about, quickly their ult management for the side of Immortals. They had ult advantage hands down, hand over fist, and yet when the big fight came, they used 4 who gets those resets, especially when it comes to the extended fight you're going to have on that second point. I don't know, I kind of really favor that composition, but then again, it allows Nami to be a little bit more effective with that Reinhardt when you have everyone enclosed in such a tighter area.
Still going to play into his hands, and in just a few moments we'll start to see what the compositions are shaping up like, especially on the defense. Rogue in the blue will be starting on the defensive side here on Temple of Anubis, and again their composition already looks like something very much out of their playbook. I always feel like, Jason, the only change we really see in this team's composition is that AKM will play Farah or McCree, and Unco might play Zenyatta, but now it's the Ana and it's a Soldier 76 to start us off, which sounds reasonable.
It's so funny too, because I'm thinking back to like when Misfits, Luminosity, and Rogue had that big roster switch. We crowned Misfits as being this team that can, like, anyone can play anything on that team, and they have so much flexibility. Then you look at Rogue right now, and it seems like they have almost no flexibility because they've been, yes, running this composition, it's working for them, but we haven't necessarily at the same time seen them push to the point where they need to switch their comps. But seeing Nox, like you said, Slasher, not really playing Ryan at all, it kind of leads me to believe what's going to happen if there's a patch change and they need to learn new heroes. Like, are they going to be as dominant as they've been?
No, he's a pretty solid Winston, and it wouldn't surprise me if they actually go dive themselves right now. I mean, he can do it, and I think they should play that for the rest of the series. I don't think it should be going back to Ryan.
What about the
Diva?
Diva?
Actually, go to Zen too.
Are you favoring the Diva over like maybe a Zarya, or I mean, obviously the Roadhog is going to be a big pick for them.
No, it can help kill Winston and be in McCree's face. I think it's a solid pick.
Okay, well, look, it's interesting. We've seen the McCree and the Zenyatta played in here. So the dive, of course, is inevitable for Immortals. I need to start making some ground and finding some picks. Grim Reality got stunned out by AKM, but managed to recall out. But then AKM just changes targets and finds Athan, a comfortable body shot with the Peacekeeper, should I say, to get the kill. And right now, Immortals are kind of clumped up, wondering where to go next.
And I'm actually not digging this either, because you're getting a lot of free chip out of the side of Rogue here to pick up some kills.
Oh my God.
You're sitting out there constantly peeking instead of just hiding away, waiting for the respawn to come back in for Athan, hoping that somehow Agilities can hit a hook onto these teams, or onto this team, which he's going to do, but the shield's going to be there in time to prevent Wins from dying.
I just feel like that was delaying the inevitable, Jason. They lost the Diva, they had 5 players, and they were all inside the building. They had to try and go for some kind of aggressive foray to get out of there, and immediately they got wrecked. So it's almost as if you're Immortals and you were 5, you probably just should have gone for it.
I definitely agree with that one. I mean, you probably would have built up more % that way, if anything. In the meantime, though, Nico at 90%, AKM at 90% as well, Soon at 90%. They have 3 big DPS ultimates almost ready to go here. Hook's going to come in, but Grim Rider's already low HP. Agilities does get the kill on the AKM, but there's the blade out of Nico.
Yeah, and Verbo falling down, so it's actually a 2-for-1 in terms of kills in favor of Rogue thus far. It is fine, Nico gets another one. Unco gets the D-suit onto what's hyped, and it's going to be tough for Minion Diva to do much work, but she still bunny blasts down Nox. But Nico, his 4th kill of the fight was on towards Nomi, and Soon is there for the cleanup. A couple of casualties there on the side of Rogue, but this is nothing they can't reinforce. But they're actually walking back a little bit. I don't know what Winston's just wanting to speed the rest of his team out. But Rogue are going to get here with plenty of time to defend. They just might not have optimal high ground set up as they filter back in.
I think Soon's going to have to look for a pick here. And if they run straight up this staircase yet again, all grouped up, this is going to be free kills for this man. But for him, he's going to go back into the high ground here, expecting to get onto this point directly. Grim does take down AKM, though, and forces the Transcendence out of Unco.
Yeah, a little bit late, of course. AKM are already falling here, but we'll see if there can be a recovery. A sound barrier, so both defensive ultimates used here by Rogue, and Soon gets himself a quick double. Unco falls to Grim Reality, which is kind of what you expect to see. He dives correctly, and Nico was lucky to avoid the pulse bomb dropped on the ground by Grim. Now Rogue have to go back in. Now the sound barrier comes out of Immortals. Good timing for Immortals to have this one late in the fight. We'll see if that gets worked through, though. Wins is very low. Self-destruct from Hype going to come in over the top here. Soon has to recall desperately out of the way, but this looks like Immortals might have this one, but no, the double deadline comes in. AKM needs to pressure. He only gets 2. Agilities catches him out.
He only gets 2, but Soon with the pulse bomb actually de-suits well timed by Hyde, but the nano boost actually onto Nami kept him alive, so he did not die from that one. Unkno's gonna be able to get a kill into Hyde to switch over from the Zinnia to an Ana. Realizing we lost his point, might as well switch now, because we're gonna need this ult percent coming into the second phase.
We'll see if Unco wants to stay on the Ana. Possibly will actually. Oh, somehow Wins gets on towards the point, but yeah, it's just a couple of seconds being.
Why did Wins die that late? Wins and Nico, that's actually not really good for them because they're able to rush straight forward with the sort of agilities and Grim Reality gets in positioning. Nico's gonna have the Dragon Blade to turn the tides if he does need it, but things like that, dying late onto a first point cap like that for the defending side can always work against you.
It would have been a little bit more risky if Immortals actually had like half their team right at the gates, but because they were still walking there, it's not going to be punished. But you're exactly right. The 2v4 doesn't make a lot of sense on that point. Now, Wins is being left on the point on his own to try and fight with agilities, but he's actually keeping him busy enough for Nico and AKM to get the damage done. Nomi and Aetham are the first casualties in that fight. You've lost to Winston and you've lost your Ana, and then your Lucio goes down. Hyped is dead to the world. There's no chance of really him coming back from this fight. And some important ultimate percentages are starting to stick up on both sides here.
Oh, Hyped. He just wants to die. He's going to get slept up as well, so he's going to be on the 10-second respawn in just a few seconds. That actually could have been really well timed out of Grim Reality if they were grouped up a little bit more here, but again, now having to wait for Hyped. Are they going to keep? I don't know. I feel like at this time you want to switch to Azari because you need that that final nail in the coffin. You need that wombo combo to finish off a team to get that 6-man wipe, or at least a good majority of that to actually close out a 2 CP map.
There is potential to get, if you're not playing against a Reinhardt composition, your self-destruct generally can have more success. But Hyped has made the switch, Jason. You're exactly right. He must have heard you, but. He's going over towards Azaya, won't have the Graviton for a while, of course, but now the dive's going to come in anyway. A bit of a jump rush, perhaps, as Nomi going to go in, gets Body Grenade pretty much straight at the start of that fight. Going to go for the Primal Rage. He's forced AKM completely out of position. Nothing AKM can even do on the point here. Verbo's ticking it up. Wins and Nox are trying to do what they can, but AKM gets to the point. He doesn't have his ultimate anymore.
So seeing what just happened in that fight kind of leads me to believe that there is definitely a lack of practice coming into this one, but the fight's not over just yet, as I just talked about that one. Agilities does take down AKM. Yeah, Bio Grenade comes in, but Grim Reality is actually sleeping from this one and soon just take him down. But still, they're not picking up enough kills. They're losing too many men, and Rogue will be able to hold this.
Yeah, not convincing fights, but at the same time, you're probably not too devastated about these as Immortals. You're behind in Ultimate's economy before the fight started anyway. You've used a few. It didn't work out. You hope to build up a couple more now before you're done. Hyped's about halfway to his next Graviton, which is not terrible, so that's something you can work on. He's maintaining a presence on this point. If Immortals could have actually gotten 1/3 out of that push, that would have been well worth it. It was close.
Yeah, it was very close actually. And what I was saying about Nami and the lack of practice from Immortals running this type of composition, or at least it feels like that, because he jumped in towards the spawn side where AKM and Unco were waiting. If he had Grim Reality and Agilities there, that would have been 2 easy kills for them to snowball that fight. But he was by himself. He did have the Palmer Rage luckily to keep AKM and Unco busy. But those 2 kills could have been a big turning point for this fight.
Just so you guys know, we don't see what ZP sees, so you get the special ZP observing treatment. Credit goes to him for all the weird close-ups you're going to get as we go through. But AKM's up on the high ground. Again, a good spot to be. You can jump over from that pillar of Soldier 76 pretty easily. It's quite good that it's such a comfortable place to access. Pulse Bomb doesn't really hit anyone in particular. Now Agilities is free to go for the Dragon Blade into the backline. Wins, fails the loop through, doesn't get Agilities away from him. And quick enough, and he gets 3 kills in that fight. Nicely done. AKM able to turn things around, but he needs to make his tac visor work in a big way. He'll have it in 4%, and he needs to use it the moment he has it free. Will he go for it at this stage? He kind of has to. Maybe he wants a bit of backup, but doesn't get the chance to use it. Agilities takes him down.
It's not looking good. They haven't been able to pick up any kills here. He's already 2/3 of the way through finishing off this map here. Grim Reality picks up a kill into soon. Agility's already at 50%, but Nami most importantly is going to have his Palmer Rage momentarily to knock them off the point to keep them back, forcing the Sound Bearer to the side of the road just to hold on to this point, just to hope to pick up a kill, and there it is. That's Agility's going down.
That was nice from Unco. He lobs the Bionic Grenade. It pretty much just catches onto Agilities with a blast radius. It seems to have gotten the job done as well. Grim Reality was now trying to deal with Unco, but soon managed to peel for his support and help that Ana out of trouble. A minute 20 remains, and ultimates are still present on both sides, but again, a lot were used there by Immortals to try and get control. There's no Nano Boost, no Dragon Blade for a little while, no Graviton Surge either.
That's what we talked about though, like that big wombo combo factor, right? Hyped hit a good Graviton Surge onto about 3 people on the side of Rogue. Agility just cleans up those kills, and they're able to snowball that fight into 2/3 of the cap. And you look about earlier on where we could have seen maybe 1/3 of the cap before, that could have actually finished off the map here with a decent amount of time remaining, but with 50 seconds left to go, they have the Sound Bearer, they have the Palmer Rage, so they have the longevity but they don't have the attacking ultimates, the DPS ultimates to close this out just yet.
Yeah, well, it's going to have to be a fight with a sound barrier here. That's going to have to be enough for Immortals for this push. Remember, just one more third. That's all they need. And Nomi and Grim Reality have done a good job of zoning Unko out. No healing forthcoming from him right now, and you can see now, Wins and Nico fall. There's no healing available from the biotic rifle, and now Soon needs to be the primary recipient of said healing, but Nomi is zoning well on the point. Unko just trying to peek through and get some healing done. But again, Immortals don't have the sticking power, Jason. They have one more chance at this.
They need those resets. They need, I don't know, maybe there's a lack of focus because obviously the side of Rogue isn't that tanky, it's just Nox. So if you can get that one kill, you get those resets for agilities, that's where things can go ham. But speaking of going ham, he's got the Dragon Blade, he's got the Nano Boost, and he's got a kill on the wins already.
That's two as well. AKM gonna fall down, agility's find the third. Can he find more? Nox is on the point. Nico also has his own Dragon Blade. He's only got two so far. Hasn't quite managed to do as much. He needs more. Nox takes down Nomi, takes to the air now. Biotic Grenade gonna make it hard for him to stay alive, and there's not much healing. Wins gets to the point, but he wasn't able to keep the Winston up. Nico, 2 kills with Swift Strikes. He's getting those resets big time. Now Agilities is the only hope left for Immortals, and he finally falls. The final Shimada, the final tick of overtime goes down, and only 1 point gained from Immortals on this map.
Nico actually went really big there at the end. Because he got 2 kills, which, yeah, isn't like the end-all be-all, but he got 2 kills onto DPS, most importantly. And with those 2 DPS down, how are you going to pick up any kills and turn that into a final push that you're going to be successful with? I mean, yeah, maybe go for supports, but the DPS can always make something happen. You can always make a big play like that. So with him securing those 2 big ones, I think it pretty much just puts the nail in the coffin. It solidifies that second point hold here for Rogue and makes this first attack for them very viable.
And again, Rogue know that if they have a pretty quick push on that first point, they're going to have a lot of time to work with. But Slasher, it does look like Immortals ran out of gas towards the end of that half, mate.
I mean, with the way that Rogue is playing, and because they're playing dive, and they get out of spawn faster than any other comp that you can put together, so you get back to the point faster. When you talk about that fight when there was about 3 minutes to go and they used all their ults and they didn't get a third, that was the game. If they use them properly in that situation, they get 1/3 there, and then they're able to close it out. And because they don't, that is how close things can happen on Assault for the second point. And now they've put themselves in a pretty tough situation, right? I mean, yes, it is definitely doable to close out second point. We've seen it done a lot, but even recently in this tournament, the change has made it so that I think every team has completed to the second point except for the runaway game, which Immortal shut them out.
And this may well be another case of a map where both teams finished, but Rogue has so much more time. This is the second map in a row in this series, in fact, that Immortals, has obviously failed to complete with time left. In the first map, they managed to complete, but had no time. In this one, they don't even get second point. So that's a good feeling for Rogue, because then you get to attack second. You know, you know exactly what you're playing up against and what you have to do. There's a lot of peace of mind in that.
Yeah, and the kind of the opposite of that, when you know you have to capture both points, and it's 2 CP, and almost every pro player in their mind has it ingrained how much they hate 2 CP, it puts a lot of extra pressure on you. But knowing they only could capture 1 means you're basically going to have a minimum of a tie. But look at what Immortals are doing. They're actually all grouped up. They haven't been spotted. But Soon's finally going to actually notice them, and they're all immediately going to back away. You can see, not wanting to get engaged on.
Yeah, but actually, Immortals are going to aggress forward into this. This might be ill-advised. They walk straight into Rogue. This is the same mistake they made on Eichenwald more than once. 3-0 in kills. 4-1 it is. Aethan finally gets knocked back with a biotic grenade, but Rogue are all over this like moss on a rock. Grim Reality has to hope to stick around, but AKM just gives him the flash and gives him the send-off back to the pavilion, son.
Okay, ultimates too. AKM, he's going to have his high noon up in just a few seconds. He's at 92%. Soon's getting close to his pulse on, which he's going to have up into this next skirmish because it's going to last for quite a long time. But on the defending side, Grim Reality's switching now over to the McCree. They have nothing, not even close to an ultimate right now, which gives Rogue such a huge advantage. Not to mention the 7 minutes, but they have a big window here of ult advantage to use.
You have me at 7 minutes, Jason. That's unbelievable what Rogue will be able to work with. Now, the Deadeye for AKM, maybe not the most impactful ult in the game right now. Kind of press Q to respawn, as we discussed last night. But still, it goes to show how much more damage he's been able to do. Grim has had to switch towards a McCree, probably to try and deal with Nico and Soon, but that's a lot of threat for McCree. He needs agilities to back him up.
And Ethan on the high ground as well in the end, just trying to stay safe, which he's going to have a fairly easy time doing. Nico can pop out that Dragon Blade, and he's able to do some serious work. Takes down Anna as well, and this is not looking good at all here for Immortals.
No, Grim Reality's very lucky to survive. He missed the final slash from Nico, but it just doesn't matter. It's Rogue all over it here. Nothing Immortals can do. A clean fight. Transcendence is available for Runco. AKM even has a Deadeye if he needs it, so Agilities just gets absolutely pummeled. He looks like a punched lasagna after that one, and that's going to be it. 2-1. Rogue make it look so damn easy, Jason. That was filthy.
I mean, again, we talk about ult management and how much better Rogue is doing. You saw having that Transcendence for that second attack, and AKM, who had the High Noon the entire time, he had the Deadeye ready to go, but he held onto it once they guaranteed that